What is going on, All Terrain Nation? It's Friday. I repeat, it's Friday, and we're going to talk some mid-size truck here on the channel. Hope everybody is having a good Friday. I know some people are just getting off work here on the East Coast. Some might be just going to work on the West Coast. I don't know how the world works, man. I just talk trucks, but we're going to do that. We're going to have some fun today, and it's been a crazy day, man. I've been watching. I don't know if any of you guys have been watching, but watching Roaring Kitty. And I'm glad to see the chaos is back in the world. I like to see that, and it makes me super happy. What's going on, Michael Cooper? I hope you're having a beautiful Friday. Very sunny here in Middle Tennessee. I'm looking out my office window right now, and yeah, it's worth the crowd. It's worth the crowd to come out for, because means I can do truck things, and my life's pretty busy right now. A lot of you guys, if you're new to the channel, I am an auto journalist, and I do have a passion for mid-sized trucks. And well, I'm also a softball coach, a travel softball coach. I'm an umpire. Like, I do anything for the love of the game. And my daughter just made the high school softball team, so I am very proud papa at the moment here. So welcome if you're new. We're going to talk some mid-sized trucks. I do promise you that. If you're new to the channel, though, give you a little bit of background on me. My name is David Boyd. I'm an auto journalist, and we are all over the country checking out the latest and greatest in the automotive world. And I specifically like mid-sized trucks a lot. My partner, my wife, Kelly, she is a full-size truck girl. She loves the big trucks. I like to off-road small trucks and have fun that way. And I think for most Americans, I think the mid-size is more truck than they need. Probably most trucks. Probably the Ford Maverick is more truck than a lot of people need. But we in America, we like these rugged, big, tough, tumbly things. And yeah, thunder in Quebec. Whoa. That's no good, man. And welcome from Nashville, Tennessee. But yes, we that little background on us. We just got back from. We seem to get invited to quite a few Ford events, so we do a lot of Ford press conferences, stuff like that. We do travel all across the country for. We'll be at SEMA this year. I haven't officially announced that yet, but I guess I just did. So we'll be at SEMA, because I think this year is going to be great for SEMA for mid-sized trucks, especially because you got the new Rangers out. We got the new Tacoma out. And of course, Tacoma is going to bring all the overland guys. So I think there's going to be a lot of fun gear that way. And I think it's a couple years ago I went because I knew it was going to be the year of the Bronco. And overall, I think SEMA's generally kind of a bust anymore. I don't think it's what it used to be. I think I see too many people that do not need to be at SEMA. And of course, they have these large venues. They got to pack this thing out, and they want it to look busy. So they've been slowly allowing brothers and friends of an uncle, of a cousin that's, into the shows. And like I said, I'm sure I'll see it. I probably need to do a people watching of SEMA, but I see it, and I'm there for work, man. I go to SEMA to work. We had another little influencer hanging out with us a couple years ago, and she thought it was just a party. And I was being explained to, who I've been in the business since 2008 or so. I've been in the automotive world, and this person was trying to explain to me that I should be in the influencer category because that's where it was at. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just do my thing. And we parted ways, and happily ever since. But SEMA, I think, will be good for trucks this year. So we've already seen a bunch of parts rolling out for these things, which was really exciting. I've been following my buddy over there, TRD John, and John has been living his best life with his taco, man. He's been all over the place. West Coast Designs, I think, he's partnered with on his build, and they're doing some crazy stuff for mid-sized trucks. But I'm kind of holding off on my Ford Ranger. If you don't know, I have a new 2024 Ford Ranger Raptor, and I'm kind of just trying to feel out the market right now of what I might want to do to this thing. I do know from the get-go, because I've bought this vehicle for a long-term tester. I've gotten pretty much, I think, what I can get out of it stock form. So now I want to kind of modify it and have fun. I think I'm going to add definitely some wheel spacers to it. Maybe wheels down the road, but I doubt it. I just want the wheels to poke out just a little bit, because if you ever look at their new Ranger Raptor and most mid-sized trucks, the wheels are so tucked in for aerodynamics. They just, I don't know. It looks top heavy to me. But I would think I'm going to start there. I'm pretty sure I want to add a bed rack and stuff like that to it. Probably common stuff to a lot of you, but that's where I'm at with that. And we've really enjoyed that truck. A couple quality issues that I've documented. If you are new to the channel, you can watch those videos. They're on here, some of my more popular videos. And that's what we do. We try to once a year buy a vehicle. This year we bought two. We bought a 2024 Ford Mustang. And speaking of Roaring Kitty, and we bought the Ranger. Now the Mustang was supposed to be a short-term ownership deal, and the got cat asshole in my face here. And to kind of hold us over for the Ranger, which got delayed due to the strike. But we're having fun with both cars. And hey man, are you okay? You trying to tell me something? Why don't you go lay down? This is my son's cat, by the way. See, look, he's like, oh, you're trying to pick me up. Let me just lay down here. So today I want to get on the show. I want to get into the current lineup for all the brands out there that have like a midsize truck. Now, I'm going to start this by saying I do not consider the Ford Maverick a midsize truck. There probably really is. I think that's more of a pup truck. It's its own category. I would put that in with the Hyundai Santa Fe. They're their own category. Subcompact trucks, something like that. But But so I want from the get-go, I'm not going to put the Maverick in this list because I don't think it's fair to the Maverick, because the Mavericks, those are their own things. So I don't just want to be upfront about that I don't want to add that to the list right now. But I am going to go with the number one truck that I'm going to bring up right now. Do you have a thing for getting your butthole into the camera? No. Stay over there. My grandcat. But I'm going to start out with this one right here, and that is the Honda Ridgeline. And I don't talk a lot about Honda Ridgeline, and I don't know if it's for any particular reason. It's just never been on my radar really. So I kind of want to look over each brand. And I kind of want to look at where their price points are and check them out that way. But I have to say, I had a chance 2 weeks ago to get in a new Ridgeline, and I should have taken that chance, and I was too busy worried about some other vehicles that we were interested in. And this thing, I've liked the redesign of this thing from the get-go. I think the first gen was just an ugly mess of, it's like the designers of the Honda Element, which I'm a big fan of the old Honda Element. They too much weird squareness in the front end. It just didn't really look truck. And I think Honda, with the redesign of this thing a couple years ago, they understood that, hey, we need to get that guy on the fence. He's a mid-sized truck guy that maybe he wants a little more creature comforts. Maybe he wants that more car-like ride. And I think that's where the Ridgeline wins out. But I love the design of this thing. I really do. And it's super capable. Like super capable. The towing on this thing is crazy. The as you can see right here, we're getting a 3.5 liter V6 engine making 280 horsepower. Now, you look at the rest of the midsize category right now, and they're all, other than Toyota, basically 310 up, where that may not stand out too much. But the ability of this thing to ride like a beautiful car, like you take this on a trip, you would have zero issues with it. It's very roomy. Even the back end of this thing, I find to be very, very roomy. All the little features, all the little quirky features, that they put in it, with like the little cooler box in the back and stuff like that. I think for a lot of people, this is right where it's at. This is the sweet spot. It just having all those features, because a lot of people want to have a truck that they don't, not every, I'm an off-road guy, so I tend to look at four-wheel drives quite a bit. And that's primarily my focus. For even my daily life, I never find where a mid-sized truck without four-wheel drive, we get snow and ice here in Middle Tennessee, and a lot of ice mostly, but I always want the most capable vehicle to handle those situations. So that's where my brain goes. But I think this being, primarily like that front wheel drive, you can get the all-wheel drive system in it. Of course, now they have their, what do they call it? The HPD, I think their Honda Performance Division or whatever they call it, where you can kind of get some off-roadish, kind of looks to the thing, a little more rugged tires. I think it's a very good buy. And I think most mid-sized truck buyers, if you're open-minded enough, which this is hard in cars and trucks, it's hard to be open-minded enough. But I think if you are open-minded enough to go, I'm going to go test everything, I think a lot of cases you might get in the Honda and be like, damn, this is better than I thought it was. And price point, as you can see here, starts at $39,000. You can see it right there. I mean, you can get on up. The Black Edition's 46, but I have a feeling if we were to quickly add, let's just hit build real quick. I'm just curious where this is at. So we're going to get the all-wheel drive. I quickly think this price would go up, and I don't know much. Usually the import brands, they don't generally give you a ton of options. So let's just see design. Okay, they got some, my beloved red that I like. There, that's basically a $500 upcharge on that. So we'll just quickly packages. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. Here's the off-road package. As you can see, it gives you a little bit more rugged look. We're still under $50,000, and that's a capable vehicle for probably 99% of the things you want to do. So if you haven't yet, be open-minded about this and go test drive one of these things if you're in the market for it. I'm not brand loyal. I used to be a Nissan guy because I like underdog brands, but I'm not really brand loyal, especially you get into this long enough, you just learn everybody's flaws or everybody's strong points. And I could take every manufacturer and pluck something I like from it and build the ultimate vehicle. But I've tended to stick with Ford here lately for my personal vehicles, just because I think they're doing some fun stuff, but I need to get in this vehicle, and I kicked my ass that I didn't get in this vehicle because it was this version. It was the HPD off-road version. And there was an off-road course I could have taken it out on, but where are you guys at with the Maverick? Does something like this interest you? Looks like they have some accessories, if you want a bed extender, which is nice. These are things they weren't really doing with the first gen. Honda's such a conservative company about I think if somebody made a hover car and they had the ability to make the same hover car, they'd still put tires on it because they were just too nervous about making a mistake. But I think it's a good looking vehicle. It looks like a truck now, even though it is unibody construction, it does have a nice subframe to it. So it's very capable. I guess we're going to get a cat in the video every occasionally. But I think if we're honest with ourselves, we look in the interior. Let's pull in the interior of this thing real quick. Hey, cat, can we do this? I know, we're buddies, but you got to go. I can't see my own screen, but let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger. There you go. The only thing they probably could have done, I just from instant looking at this thing, is put a shifter in this, put a real shifter. Does it need the real shifter? No vehicle now needs a real manual levered shifter. It's all controlled electronically now, but I think that might have swayed some people, some of the truck buyers, into this a little bit more. But the interior of this thing looks great. I will say the screen's starting to look a little bit dated in this. This definitely looks like something that Nissan and them would have put in together. The screen just very basic, but guess what? The volume of these things they sell, they can't refresh as fast as Ford and some of the other, like Toyota can. But well, I say Toyota, but the last Tacoma just never seemed to tech-wise ever get anything. Good looking interior of this thing though. So that's my look at the Honda Ridgeline. And I am curious in the comments below. Let me know. You guys guide this ship a lot of times. I follow where you guys want to go, and I make purchases where you guys want to go. So I am always paying attention, and I do honestly, I rewatch these things just to see your comments a lot of cases. So and comments help out the old algorithm, and that makes me a happy camera. Let's see. Andrew says Ford Ranger needs a trimmer. Andrew, I think we're going to see that very soon. I think what the Australian market gets is a wild track. I truly think that we're going to get that as the trimmer. And I think Ford with the Ranger, they were taking chances. You have to understand, Ford quit selling mid-sized trucks in 2011 because they were getting expensive. The fuel economy of them was bad. They hadn't technically updated the Ranger in probably 25 years. They put new stuff in the cabs, but the underpinnings of that vehicle was so freaking old. And they gave up on that market. And they left it for Nissan and Toyota to have. All of the manufacturers did. And then, brands like Honda and some of these start popping in. And so you have to understand, they're still nervous. Ford doesn't want to take away from F-150 sales. They want to plus those sales. And that's where Ranger brings to the market, is the ability to plus sales. So I was in the Michigan assembly plant where they make the Ford Ranger about 2 months ago, I guess now, doing a tour there, and I got to go through stamping and stuff, and stamping supposedly is ready for some things. So I can't say much, but that, some of the complaints that people have said, like, by the Ford, was the no trimmer, no this, no sunroof. And so Ford, I think, is playing this very conservative. We got that last generation of Ranger that was just, they did a trimmer in it, but it was very low options of what a trimmer could be. It looked nice, and I like the last generation truck. The interior was very dated, very built for a different market, Indonesian market. But I think we were lucky to get that, and I think they saw that and said, okay, we can build on that. Let's slowly ramp into mid-sized trucks again. And especially with Ford doing away with cars and everything, man, they're taking their time with it. So I think you're going to see something there pretty soon. So stay calm, stay stay there. Let's see. Agreed. Maverick is its own class. Mini put trucks, efficient but not the same class. No, not at all. Does that make mid-sized trucks? Does that make them like kind of like that redheaded stepchild or the middle child, like from the Brady Bunch? Is that what mid-sized trucks are now? They kind of maybe are going to get forgotten about because full-size trucks are always hot. The Maverick is probably I won't say it's just as hot as F-150 sells, but they sell a shit ton of this thing. And so does that make the mid-size market for Ford, especially kind of like the middle child? I don't know. But so opinions of the I gotta write this down because I want to rank these things. And the cat's on my piece of paper, aren't you? All right. So get my handy dandy pen here. Get my little piece of paper out. So Honda Ridgeline. So I'm going to give Honda Ridgeline I'm going to say an 8. So that's where I'm going to give Honda Ridgeline right now because I think the interior obviously needs to, the infotainment center needs to be bumped up a little bit. I think the outside still looks great. But there's probably just a few things that, and I have looked in these vehicles and the infotainment center is just awful and they need to redo the center stack as well. So I'll give it an 8. I'm curious where you guys are at with that. Where would you rank 1 through 10? Where would you give the Honda Ridgeline? So let's move on to the next brand, which will be kind of my old buddy, my old pal, which is the Nissan Frontier. Now, a couple things about this vehicle right from the get-go. Full disclosure, I used to own Nissan websites. I own Nissan forums. I own Xterra Nation, Frontier Nation, and a few other things. And so I had a very good passion for this vehicle. And the previous generation of this vehicle was an excellent vehicle for its time. Nissan being Nissan, and they're always near bankruptcy, it seems like. So they can't make 15 different moves with their vehicle lineup. They just focus at one at a time. And it's 15 years later, it's Frontier's time to get refreshed. And they did a nice refresh with it. Now, I'd had early on 2020, somewhere in there, I had a spy photo of this thing. And they were going to make a Raptor killer version of this thing. And why they've never done it is beyond me. Nissan makes goofy moves. They came out with an amazing Warrior concept. Excuse me. That for the Titan that probably would have helped Titan sales. Never did it. Nissan has a knack for bringing out prototypes that look amazing and damn near ready to go, like the IDX concepts. I don't know if you guys remember those cars that they were the little throwback cars. They have a way of bringing out ready to go things. The press, which I'm excited generally when Nissan, I get excited to see the updates they do. Some of the other press are a little meaner to Nissan or maybe hold them more accountable. And, they're not as nice to the brand, but I think the Frontier, if you've ever saw one of these things, they definitely have tried to pluck too much from the Titan. And when I saw the concept, I was hoping, I seen some of what we see is the truck now in it, but I was really hoping they didn't pull too much from the Titan. And well, they did. Now, if you look at the front end of this thing, it's definitely inspired by the previous version of the Toyota Tacoma. I have some photos from inside their design studios where they have a Tacoma next to this thing. They were benchmarking that as the vehicle they want to go after, which was smart. Because if you're number 3 or 4 on the list and you want to get closer to the number 1 on the list, you find number 1 and you start benchmarking it. And it's pretty common in the industry. You always see there's always Auto News or somebody always has a a photo of, oh, GM's benchmarking the Cybertruck or Ford's benchmarking the Cybertruck. Yeah, they're always curious what other manufacturers are doing. So it didn't surprise me to see Nissan doing that, but I just feel like in the front end of this thing, they got a little too close to home for that. The side end of this thing, I don't know if you can see my mouse here. Let me see. Here we go. Too much. This is too much Titan, and this is too much for Titan. It's too much Ford. Just too much Ford. The Titan itself was too much of a clone of the Ram at the time slash Ford. Like they tried to shove both of those trucks into one. Didn't work out for Titan, unfortunately. In about a month, I think it ends production. So in Canton, Mississippi, and full size trucks for Nissan will be no more. So Nissan really needs the Frontier to be a home run for them, and it's a good price point. If you look at it here, it says starting at 30,000. Let's explore the Frontier. I once again very the grill of this thing's very very Titan like. I didn't, and I still don't like the Frontier stamped in the grill. I'm over that. I don't mind it in the tailgate as much, but I don't need like this powerful statement of a vehicle. This is their Pro 4X trim, and look at the awful tires that are on this thing. They should have come out of the gate with a Pro 4X with something beefy. One time they were putting BF Goodrich tires on their trucks, not great ones. I forget what model it was, but then they've switched, and I think they're put General tires on these trucks now. Maybe I can't remember. Or, anyways, it's a lesser tire they're putting under this truck, and they do understand that. Hey, from people are going to buy this, they're going to want to throw their own tires under this thing. And I was at Discount Tires yesterday, and I saw one of this generation truck that got new KO2s on it. Badass. It's amazing to me how an aggressive tire can just change the attitude of a truck. But in the factory form, it's like, it's a little underwhelming. I do think it's a good truck. I've done time in this truck. We got amazing. It's a naturally aspirated V6 engine. They're 3.8, which is based on the 4-liter they've owned forever. They've used that block forever. But they brought the cylinder size down just a little bit. Better fuel economy. I want to say, I can't see it from here, 26 miles per gallon is what I was able to get out of this thing. Now I'm hyper looping that. And in those videos, I'm very upfront about, hey, I'm just here to see what I can get. I do a 40-mile loop and just see what I can get. But I've had people in that video comment that they consistently can get 24, 25 on the highway with their new Frontier, which that's probably class leading, to be honest. And that's a naturally aspirated V6. Now, if you look at the numbers that, will be on the window sticker, they don't reflect that. I don't remember right off the top of my head what it was rated at, but it was not rated as that thing. But let's get into this just a little bit. Nissan's jumped into this. They've got the more aggressive wheels that, options you can buy, the inlays for the tailgate. I do like the burger with the orange around it. It's kind of more aggressive. I think the sport bar in the back's awful, but I don't like any of them. The last time I saw a sport bar that I liked was on the Fall Guy TV show, like at the old GMC that they used to run around in. That they're not. There's nothing about those that are helpful at all, unless you just want to throw some lights up there, which is what you used to see in the 70s. I'm a product of the 70s and 80s. I remember the KC lights on top of those things, and then that somehow went away real quick. But Nissan builds a good truck. But the one thing, let's see if we can bring some interior shots in this thing. The one thing they've got going for them is pretty good price. And with Nissan is you generally can get some rebates. Now, that's not always great when you want to resell the vehicle, because when you start getting factory rebates, it just kills the resale value. So Nissan's been king of that for a long time. But you can get a nice vehicle. The S right here starts at 31,000. I think the sweet spot for Nissan, well, I love the Pro 4X, don't get me wrong, but I think the sweet spot is the SV. You get a nice radio system in it. You looks like you can get some crew cab. Let's see, crew cab 4x4, $37,000. And if you need a rear locker for $40,000, it looks like you can get a Pro 4X. That's pretty nice, especially considering what we'll get into with some of the newer models. But as the Pro 4X, I don't want to. Let's go build and price. Sorry. See, even their website kind of sucks. And I hate to say that. I hate to be mean to the company that I pull for. But let's see. No, I want to build and price. If you do this to me again, I'm going to kill you, Frontier. See, look, their website sucks. Frontier. See, because these are all at dealer's lots. They're like, hey, would you like to build? We can sell you one right now. Pro X, no. Here's a Pro 4X. We'll just look at it real quick. Some good colors. I will say Nissan's got some good colors. Let's see. This red's pretty nice. They call it Red Alert. The Cardinal Tricolor. This is probably my favorite that I've seen them do on this and the Nissan Z. The green I could live without. I think they were trying to trend with what Toyota was doing at the time. This blue pearl stone, definitely a bright, exciting color. I do like this kind of Baja Storm metallic. They have a good selection of colors, which is unusual. A lot of, Toyota's been very aggressive with colors, but a lot of the other manufacturers just kind of give us these black, silver, white, maybe another color. So it's kind of nice that Nissan's kind of venturing into some of the other colors, or the old classic white. You can never go wrong with that. And I think with the black and all that, it looks great. So let's see if we can get to the interior. Yes, I don't care about the vehicle being in stock. Once again, website's awful. So this is where I think Nissan needs to step it up just a little bit. Every manufacturer now, the center stack is digital. They're going to have to go to that at some point. A lot of these just feel like leftover parts from the Titan, even though it's not. I mean, they're identical, but the interior of this is just like a Titan. I hate to say that, except for the Titan gets a column shifter. I've done time in this vehicle and I like this. There's a couple cheap things about it. I will say this panel right here, all this right here, it's the same internals of the previous truck. The layout is exactly the same. The buttons here all feel the same as the previous truck, which was 18 years old, I believe, before they discontinued it for the new model, that's a joke. And why Nissan the buttons? And what you can't see up here in the eyeglass holder box up here is the exact same one they've been using for 18 years. Why they cheapen out, I don't understand, but you do get some color. I like the stitching with this. I do like the little tray up here. That's nice. The infotainment screen built in. I like the fact that it doesn't feel like it's just some big TV sticking out of the dash that doesn't belong. What's up, Mr. Executive Producer? Thank you, Andy, for that. And yes, smash that like button for me. But I think the dash in the Nissan, it fits well. I like you're getting the dual climates and all that. The digital readouts, all that. I like the fact in a world where we're losing buttons, maybe that's to Nissan's benefit that we're getting physical buttons still. I don't know. But I do like, there's a couple things about it I do like about it. This aux port over here, you got the whole feng shui. They're trying to balance this. It's strange to me. But with the Pro 4X, you get a rear locker. Very capable engine. You're getting a 9-speed transmission, which I think helps get it the mileage that it does. But the interior of this, this is just boring. I don't know what you guys' opinion of that is, but I don't know. Something about it just doesn't look finished. And especially when you got all this nice red stitching everywhere, all these nice lines breaking up. And then when you see this in person, you're just kind of like, oh, well, that's cool, I guess. But the speaker right here, that little kick out that they have, exactly the same from the previous truck. So I hate to beat up on this thing, but they have some fun things. There's some nice things about it. You can get, if you want, somewhat rock rails, steps, all like that. I like the fact that on the Pro 4X, you're getting all the painted features, the dual tow hooks, which is nice. Some manufacturers don't even give you tow hooks, but they're giving us dual tow hooks. You do get with Pro 4X, you're getting some skids. And I think Pro X as well, which is the 2-wheel drive version of this. You still get a rear locker and you get some skids. But I kind of miss the days of the racks. They used to have those big kind of Xterra like roof racks on them, and I kind of miss those. I'd like to see them do a little bit more with this. I did do recently some time walking around the Chicago Auto Show with the Chris Forsberg edition of this thing, which is, I hate to say, is the lamest way to use. Like, I'll be honest, unless you're a drifter, nobody really knows who Chris Forsberg is, or these are my opinions. I think he's a cool cat. I like watching his videos on YouTube. Big sponsored by Nissan, so he's always doing drift stuff with the Z's, and he built a killer Altima a couple years ago. That's badass. But I think there's not a name brand as you look at Ford with what they have with RTR and stuff. I don't feel like the version that they're trying to promote right now, the Forsberg version, or even the hard body version that they did. It's just not, it's weak sauce, but in a good packaged vehicles. But if you want an honest to true truck, this is an honest to true truck that if you kind of miss, oh, I miss the trucks from the 90s or early 2000s, this gives you those feels and you get nice updated features. So I'm curious in the comments where you are with the Nissan. I gotta get my paper down here. So Nissan. The Frontier, I'm gonna give an 8.1. And I hate to go 1.1. It's just a tick above the Ridgeline to me, probably because it's a fully framed box frame truck where Ridgeline's not. I think interior wise, they're both could use more. And I do know, I believe we'll see it this fall. Nissan's doing a front and rear refresh on this. Hopefully in the interior, we're going to get a refresh as well. They're quickly to change, where the last version of this truck, they didn't. I think with Titan going away, they have to now. They have to. This is their bread and butter. And believe it or not, at one point, Nissan, when they had the hard body, sold like 220,000 a year. 220,000 a year, and this truck sells about 89,000 somewhere in there a year. So Nissan would love to get to that 100,000 mark again. I think it'd be good for the company as well. But that's kind of some of my thoughts on the Nissan Frontier. Once again, let me know what you guys think about this, because for one, I'm trying to do the Friday afternoon shows, and maybe we'll get my buddy Tim Esterthal with Pickup Truck Plus SUV back on for some of those. He's traveling like crazy right now. His business is really taking off. But I think the Friday shows, and I'm curious what you guys think. If let me know in the comments if you like kind of the afternoon live shows, because we had been doing these on Saturday mornings, and I just don't think enough people are awake at the time when we were doing them. Let's see. We got some ratings here. Honda Ridgeline is 6.8 out of 10. Nissan Frontier, 7.5 out of 10. Toyota Tacoma, 8 out of 10. Ford Ranger, 8.5 out of 10. The Canyon, 8.5 out of 10, and Chevy Colorado 9.5 out of 10. I'm curious why GMC, and because they're twins. There's no doubt about it. Those are twins. I think the GMC interior, in my opinion, and well, I guess the way they rank them up too is they try to make GMC a little bit nicer. I think the interior, I don't like the white necessarily in a truck, but it's definitely flashy, definitely a lot of soft touch in the interior of that thing, and I think it looks pretty nice. But I'm curious why you gave the GMC Canyon a whole lesser point than you did the Colorado, and which is fine. Remember, these are all, even though I'm in the industry, these are just my opinions. So these are just my opinions. Frontier seems to be the best bang for your truck in midsize, and I think it is. I think it is, and I think if you can live without having the latest and greatest in technology, you do get Apple CarPlay, stuff like that with it. I do not believe it's wireless. I can't remember. I haven't done time in one of these in 2 years when this first came out, and I'm due to get one again. I've talked to Nissan the other day about trying to get a couple things that I want from there. I've been trying to get the damn Nismo Z forever, and it's never available when I need it. And I think the time's come for that. I think that's kind of over with. I would like to drive it for me, but I think for the channel's sake, it would never do anything. But I'm trying to get a Frontier, and I was told they didn't have anything in stock right now, because I think my press fleet is about to get the refresh model. So, but that being said, I think it's a good, honest truck, man. And in the Pro 4X, you're getting nice, LED lights and stuff. Some of the lesser trims you're not, which boggles my mind, but you're getting nice LED in the front. I think taillights are LED as well. It's a good truck. Definitely a good truck. So I'm curious what you guys think. And like Andy said, smash the like button for me. Mr. says, I want the ZRT to Bison hands down. I love that truck. When me and Kelly were driving that truck 2-3 weeks ago, something like that, I almost kicked myself that I didn't wait for that instead of the Ranger Raptor. Now, if you watch the video, the interior isn't as fun to me as the Ranger Raptor, and it comes down to that and the horsepower. If Chevrolet had the balls, and I say that nicely, if they had the balls to put something in, time out. Let me start. Chevrolet wants to be an EV company now, so we're lucky with that brand that you're getting any sort of actually gasoline powered engine. They're always in flux. They try to serve their truck audience, because trucks is what keeps the lights on for General Motors. but at the same point, they're being pulled. They want to do this, these EV trucks and all this. And unfortunately, I think this chassis, the Colorado chassis and the Canyon chassis suffer for that with the 2.7, which you think, oh, the 2.7's in the big truck, it'll be fine. And I'll be honest, in the ZR2, I just needed more from it. I did. I just needed more from it. And I think that's something that a lot of auto journalists won't say, because there is a certain point, if you want access to vehicles, I can't go, hey, these vehicles are a pile of shit. I couldn't do that on every live stream. They'll cut my access off. And I can't, for one, I don't think they're all pile of shit trucks. I think there's things we can, critique about them. But if you were just as mean as I see in the comments sometimes, like they would, all the manufacturers would shut access off real quick. So you got to go in there with, good criticism, but constructive criticism. And so that's sometimes tough, especially when the motor's so weak. But we'll finish up with that right there. And let me get this off the screen because we're done talking about the Frontier. And 8.1 is what I'm giving the Frontier. That is correct, Ed. I feel like Johnny Carson here all of a sudden. So next up, we might as well, we just were talking about it, and we might as well bring this one up, because this is probably my, if you're not new to the channel, you know where I'm going with this. This is probably my favorite design of a midsize truck right now. Something about the lines of it so aggressive. The interior of it I like quite a bit. I like the fact that they have partnered with AEV for a version of this vehicle. And I think hands down that the GMC Canyon is probably my favorite looking vehicle. Something about it, even their AT4X version right here in the middle. The tow hooks, everything, it just looks super aggressive. I like the fact that, you got these nice, cool running lights, but the actual lights are sort of hidden under them. I like the fogs don't scream at you like, oh my God, there's a fog there. That's the fun of LED lights now is you can put a bright light in a very small package, so they don't need to just scream, I'm off-road or whatever. And I think this of the twins, I think this is the better looking vehicle. That red that they do, the deep red that GM does, is, oh my God, it's the cat's meow, man. It is such a good looking color. And let's look at their 24 lineup. I think for the money, now with being GMC, it's all going to be expensive. It just, that is what it is. I mean, they're trying to push this to an upper tier brand, which is weird to me because I grew up, GMC was a very blue collar, like if you just needed a truck with no radio, like that's, and how they flipped the script on that in the 90s and just were able to turn it into more of a luxury brand trips me out. But they've done this right. This is the elevation version, which still gives you some of that off-road, like badass look to it, though, you're going to get the more street tires. And I think probably for a lot of people, that's probably the sweet spot. But if you want to get into a Denali, like if you want to spend a lot of money and you want a lot of luxuries, they have that for you. And, I know Ford has, the Lariat version of the Ranger that is nice. No, I don't want to get into the thanks though. I'm trying to talk about your brand, not I don't need any information about it. But my father-in-law is a big GMC guy. He loves GMC, and he usually picks up I think he's got a new Canyon that he just picked up in Detroit. So maybe I'll get to drive it. I drove his previous version, which I liked a lot. But something about this is very aggressive, very futuristic looking to me, but yet still a good truck. Now, once again, I just was bitching about the Chevrolet engine option. Well, guess what? We get the same damn engine option, and that's the weak point for me. 310 horsepower sounds like a lot. And when you get into it, especially in the with the 35s that I drove of the Bison, I know it's geared appropriately, but it just never felt, me and Kelly, I've got a video that'll be dropping. It just never felt like, man, it's got enough power. And I'm somewhat spoiled because we have the Ranger Raptor, which even at that, I don't feel like the Ranger Raptor is not going to throw you back in your seat and you're, crapping your pants because it's pulling your skin so tight. You're like, you're going through a time warp. But that's for my Mustang. But I just feel like, because these trucks are heavy, the old S10s and the old S15s, they were not as heavy as these damn things are, or nor were they as big. But I think the AT4X is where it's at for me. Definitely, let's click build and price real quick because I think sticker shock here is will freak you out. Uh, well, this time, Jesus, website. I don't need all your BS. Um, so let's go to the exterior of this thing. Once again, they have some fun colors, and I think that's a good selling point for pickup trucks now is colors. You do get some aggressive, you're getting some aggressive Goodyear tires on this thing, which I like. Once again, remember my complaint about the Pro 4X of Nissan, not getting anything kind of exciting. I do believe with the GMC and Chevrolet version, they give you something fun. Now, being the AT4X, you're going to get, if this will load, you do get some you can get some goodies, some off-road goodies. You're going to get rock sliders or rock rails on the side of it, which are, yeah, I'll be honest, off-road they probably work great. For daily use, see, there we go. About to close you out. These rock rails, I don't think they look the best in my opinion, but they're basically useless as far as like trying to get in and out of the vehicle. So these are going to collect mud. If you're, even if you're on a gravel road, they're going to be nasty. You're going to get into this and you're going to look down at your pants and they're always dirty. I would prefer to let aftermarket handle this, the rock rail business. And GM just put us a nice step. I complain about the Ranger Raptor steps that they have because they sit way too low. But at the end of the day, they're very useful to get in and out of the truck. And I think for this truck, 95% of the buying audience needs more useful than they do off-road. Though this is, as GM will say, this is their most capable off-road vehicle. But the wheels in this thing look great. Styling of it, I like the big fenders. Should be pretty easy if you want to put a larger tire under it. I do like the way the cab sits and looks and mirrors. Everything about this thing I think looks great. This tailgate with these lights, look how powerful that looks. These fenders, I love their fenders. I like this is my favorite of the two, but I kind of like the fenders, the rounded fenders here on the GM, or see a little bit better than the Chevrolet. But great looking vehicle. And I'm telling you, this color in person, oh my god, it's a beautiful color. But, that once again, this, Andre, my buddy over at TFL, had the solar flare in his Chevrolet. He bought, what was it? What did he buy? Trail. I forget what they call their entry level off road. And we'll get into it in a minute. But he bought this color. I don't think I like bright, flashy colors, but it's probably not a color for me. Though the blues, this is the color that we drove the ZR2 Bison in, this dynamic blue metallic. Oh my God, it pops. Probably my favorite is their reds. Their reds are nice and deep. But you're also, look, we're at $57,000 and we haven't done a damn thing to this vehicle. Now, I don't know that you honestly need to do much to it. And GM's website's awful for you. Go, hey, oh, cool. I want these wheels. See AEV center caps. You're like, oh, I want those. And then I guarantee it's going to go, well, may need additional. So I'm just curious what it's going to put us in their Bison. So there's the Bison version of this. So we can add $10,100 more. And you're getting a very nice, capable vehicle. You're going to get the underskid protection. You're going to get the steel front bumper, steel rear bumper, which I mean, they're all right. Is it worth $10,000 more? Not in my opinion, but I do like the look of that vehicle. But if you want the ultimate off-road trim, you're going to have to pay for it, and it's expensive. But this is the white I was telling you about. I would prefer that these armrests to be black because guess what? It's still a truck. At the end of the day, you want to do truck things with it, and I don't need mud on my arms, grease on my arms, whatever hitting that, and then then my $65,000 truck or $67,000 truck, as you can see right there, is now a $25,000 truck. But overall, the interior looks great. Even the center, I like the pinstriping or the stitching there, but I could have done without it being white. And I have a feeling a lot of people may have these reupholstered, maybe. But packages, there's the goofy sport bar package. If you want to pay $3,000 to lose a lot of functionality of your truck, I can't reach across under my truck because I've got this goofy ass bar. And I say that in jest. If you like it, more power to you. But in my life, it would not work for me. recovery package. So if you want, off-road recovery in a winch, that's pretty cool that you can get it for that. But $67,000, and then you add on tax, title, and all that, you're at 70,000 plus for a midsize truck. Now, just because it's my favorite, don't mean I can afford it. And I don't know about you guys, but that's a spicy meatball. Look, it comes, of course, being with the AEV, you're gonna get a lot of the fun badging and stuff like that. There's the bumpers. The rock rails would be the one thing that I definitely would remove, and I would get somebody else to build them. But overall, I think it's a nice truck, and by far, it's one of my favorites. And as I rate this, I got to write GMC down here. So GMC, this is a tough one because it's my favorite design, but the engine. Once again, I love the wheels of these things, especially the AEV package. All this looks great, but I've got to ding it, and I think at the end of the day, I'm going to have to give it a 9.5. That's a pretty high rating. I think this thing, if it had even a lower V6, making 310, 320 horsepower, I think it's a 10 across the board, in my opinion. I can live with the interior. I would reupholster the interior, but I maybe a 9.8. We'll say that. But by far, this is one of my favorite trucks out there, and I'm curious, especially the person who lowered this one said the ZR2 Bison was higher ranking than this one, which underpinning is identical. So maybe it's the design thing, which once again we're all able to have our own opinions on this. But GMC, if you're watching, I would love a press loan of this vehicle, and I'd love to spend 7 days with this thing, seeing how capable it was, because we did the year ago, I guess it was, we did the Silverado ZR2 Bison. Love that truck, great truck. Just not enough Raptor to me. It needed to be a little bit more. Let's see. Jack Evans is in the house. My main man from the Masters. I tip my hat to you, sir. Jack is a man of many talents. But let's see some of the comments here. I seen Andy's comment down there. I can't talk about that one. Let's see. Interior is white in a truck, kind of counterproductive. They do not add extra leather on the dash armrests, thus no real luxury. It's a gimmick and it loses its rating. GMC, nice fish. I 100% get it, and we're all allowed to definitely have our opinions about that. And I can see your points. And once again, the white loses for me too. Trust me. But everything else about that vehicle, if it just had a motor, and I'm talking GMC, you would get a couple extra points. You'd probably be the top dog if it just had a better motor. And when you hear this thing, when you hear the little 2.7 single turbo, it almost sounds like a diesel. And it's torquey as shit, man. Don't get me wrong. This little puppy, you put it in four low, it's a tank. I mean that Bison that we messed with in 4 alone was torquey. It was going to crawl up anything. I definitely could take it to Windrock Park, where I like to go off-roading, and beat the piss out of that thing, and it would go everywhere I wanted to go. But it's also a $70,000 truck on this one. So would you do that? Let's see. Hey, Dave, have you ever worked for Nissan? Yes, Andy, I did work for Nissan Manufacturing at the Smyrna manufacturing plant here in Tennessee, and never had a desire to work for Nissan. But when the economy crashed, guess what? They offered me employment, and I worked for them for about 4 months. And the week I decided I'm going to really make a go of working for Nissan, an engineering company called me and said, "Hey, we would like you to come work for us." And I was like, "Hey, I'd like to work for you." And well, there went my automotive career for Nissan, and probably for the best. Let's see more comments here. Andrew, do you consider the 2-door Bronco and 4-door Bronco midsize SUV since it's based on the Ranger, or do you consider it a full size? What's your take on it? Would you consider a midsize? Yes, I do consider the Bronco more of midsize segment. It's definitely on Ford's platform. Was it the T6 platform? I think they call it. That's based around the Everest, which I think is coming to the United States, which is also a midsize vehicle. But no, Bronco all day long is midsize to me. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Andy is going crazy in the chats now. Yes, Andy's quite colorful in his executive producer roles. Dave. Let's see. Dave, did you move your racing game? You look further from the wall. Andy, I did. So Andy's a friend of ours. He's a friend of the channel and has been around for a long time. And Andy's been in the studio here and got to see the mess that it is. And yes, Andy, the studio is gaining some space. So haven't sold it yet, but if anybody needs a racing simulator, I do have one. Let's see. Friday is a better day for sure, Marcus says. Well, that works for me because I usually have plenty of time on Fridays. And I'm probably on Fridays, I'm thinking of a story for Monday, or I'm playing Rocket League, to be honest. So this is better time, better spent for sure. Andrew. Oh, sorry. I'm catching up, Jack. I'm catching up here. All right. So we've done Nissan. We've done Honda, which I still kind of like kick myself for not being in that vehicle. And now GMC. So I think we got to break it up. We can't go right to Chevrolet, right? That would be too crazy. So let's do this. Let's go to the king of the jungle. You guys know where I'm going with this one. Toyota Tacoma. So this truck right now is very polarizing. And I'm going to get you off their video screen here, but it shows the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter doing all of its cool things. But let's just go to their normal. Where's it? There it is. Normal Tacoma. Let's go down here. Once again, they're showing you the best. Is what they should show you the best. They want to lead with it. But from the get-go, this truck has been it's a problem child for the brand. And I say that I respect Toyota's quality, and I think the previous Tacoma was by far their best design. I think it looks great. It just wasn't comfortable being that truck. And I'm 5'8". The seating position was just awful. For me, for long periods of time. I know a lot of people that are just Toyota fanboys that will see past all that stuff and go, "You're just crazy, Dave." But if you get in, as this show progresses, and something I would like everybody to be honest with these vehicles. You can be a fanboy of them, but I challenge everybody, the next time you go to purchase any vehicle, go to one of the competitors and just kind of see where everybody's at. Maybe test drive 2 of them. If you're looking at the Silverado, go get in the new Tundra, or go get in, a Dodge or the Ram or whatever. Like, just sit in them and get a good idea of what maybe you're missing or what you're not missing. But with the new Tacoma, in my opinion, it's a miss because it's too much Tundra, which Tundra has been polarizing to some. I love the Tundra, especially once you see it in the TRD Pro form. Get some aggressive tires under it. I think it looks great. I think it's great. I like what they did with the 3.4 now. They can't call it a 3.5. But clearly there's some engine issues with that truck, and all 100,000 plus they've sold are being recalled. So Toyota's starting to get some dings on them for quality. This truck, I know a lot of people didn't think that Toyota would go as far to make it look like the full-size truck, which boggles my mind. We talked about Nissan doing this. It boggles my mind why manufacturers would, if you have a lesser selling vehicle, why do you push your strong selling vehicle to look more like it? Are you trying to blur the lines of like, well, our fanboys in the small trucks, we want them to, if they want a full-size truck, to move up into our full size? Do we just sort of try to blur the lines there? Is that why some of the brands do it with their lesser full-size trucks? I don't know. But this truck to me is just There's too much going on with the truck. Look at all the options they have for trucks. These are too many trucks. Toyota. And this might be one reason why the truck's so damn expensive, is because they're trying to offer 15 different models. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 trims of this truck. 11 trims of this truck. And Ford's got what, 3, maybe 4. Chevrolet's got maybe 4. Everybody, well, Nissan's got basically 2. Um, everybody has so many lesser options. And now we live in a world where everybody likes options, but it's just, I don't know. I think they're over the top. You know, everybody always talks shit about, oh, if somebody make a true pre-runner, Toyota makes it. I don't know anybody that's going to buy a pre-runner. Now, I don't live in Southern California or any desert area where that might be what you want. But guess what? 98% of the globe doesn't need a pre-runner. So you've spent a lot of money to develop that. Now, there's some cool things about it. I like the extra cab they do with that. The fact that the doors, there are no rear doors on that. I think that's a good move. I think for manufacturing, it just makes things easier and a little bit cheaper. But I don't know who's calling for this. The SR. Let's be honest. Toyota does not own the entry level truck market. That's where Ford and Chevrolet and, especially the Maverick now. If you think of box trucks and the little, your auto zones, your advanced, parts companies, they're using Mavericks now. They're not using this. And Toyota would be smart. There's a lot of talk of the Stout coming to the United States, which is more of an entry level vehicle. They don't need an SR5. Like make make an SR5 your entry level. You don't need the SR, definitely. But they're going to do what they're going to do. Put the small, you don't get many options. Put the small engine, in this thing, which is already underpowered in my opinion. SR5, by the time you can option this thing up, you're damn near into the off-road package. We got a TRD Sport. We got a TRD Off-Road. We got the TRD iForce Max. The off-road iForce Max. I know I sound like I'm bitching about this company. I think it's Toyota, so I think there's a lot of winning to this. I think it's going to last for 10 years easily. Probably not give you a bit of trouble. I say that, though we have the engine issue. But something about this is just a big miss to me. And this is the first time the Tundra and Tacoma was the first time the United States design team had more of a say with their trucks. Toyota Japan has always been very like, you don't get to, we're going to design what we think they want. Seemed to work. Well, now the United States is getting more of a say, and I think as we should. The engineering team here, they kind of have a good idea what the American audience wants and needs, but they also, guess what? We dream, and they want to make more of their dream packages like the TRD Pro down here. And if you look, $31,000 starting out, all the way down here to $63,000 starting out. That's a big jump. And we start looking more like the TRD Pro. Payload's awful. With the TRD Pro, you're going to get those funky seats, which I bet they're awesome. But then you can't put anybody but maybe a toddler in the back of the truck. And even at that, I wouldn't feel safe because you got these steel pistons. I don't know, something about it doesn't seem safe to me. For 63. Oh, you want to save $1,000? We can go down here to the Trail Hunter, which I love the fact that they try to sell these shocks as, oh, they're different. Oh, these are Old Man Emu. No, they're built by Bilstein. Guess what? I guarantee you these over here are built by Bilstein as well, because they look exactly like what's under the Sasquatch package of the current Ford. Like exactly. Maybe they tune them slightly different for this vehicle, but it looks like the same package. I do know the front the electric rack in this steering rack in this thing is the exact same as the Bronco has, which probably Ranger has as well. The sway bar disconnect, or the stay bar as they call it, is the exact same thing. They're not breaking ground here. They're just building on what Dana or whoever builds that stuff's actually, I think they gave Ford the exclusive for so many years, and then other brands will be able to jump into that. But I think that, look at the TRD Pro. I think it's a good looking truck. Awful tires under that. Once again, I talked about earlier, manufacturers, especially Toyota, knows just throw tires under it. They're going to go do what they want. Look, I think it looks great. I like the dual exhaust tips back here. I would love to see more of something metal up front here, but is what it is. But if you consider $65,000, you can get a ZR2 Bison with full front rear metal bumpers. Not the horsepower this then has, because this is a hybrid setup, which I'm big on how they're doing that with the full size truck. I like the fact that they're using the electric motors in the drivetrain to help give it more torque and stuff like that. So I I haven't got to drive the pro version of this yet, but I have a feeling I'm gonna like it with this. But at the end of the day, this thing, for one, that color is just god awful. No options for colors. Look, you get white, get gray, or you get black. And guess what? They're all more expensive except black because you don't get the painted black roof because you're painting the whole thing black. Um, I know I sound like a naysayer with the Toyota, and I had somebody, pardon me, make a comment in one of my videos of like, "Hey, in your video, you were pretty positive about driving the TRD off road, and you said in your live stream afterwards, you were kind of had some negatives things to say. For one, in my videos, if I just shit on the truck, nobody's gonna watch it. Two, there are some positives about that vehicle and driving it initially. Yes, I had a lot of positive things to say about it, but guess what? It wasn't even an hour or two afterwards where me and Kelly were just sitting around talking, and we right before we did the live stream of driving that truck, the negatives just really started popping into my head, and I think I was initially looking at it through some rose-colored glasses, and I think that those glasses cleared up, and I started really thinking about the vehicle. And unfortunately, sometimes in some of these press trips you get 30 minutes with a vehicle, you get overwhelmed with things you want to talk about. Obviously, there's certain things. Cat, get your ass out of my face. Come on. There's things that you kind of know where to focus. Somebody else has already broken ground or chewed on that bone a little bit, so you kind of have an idea of where to take it. But then driving it, it was just so underwhelming. Just the four-cylinder is so underwhelming to me. The 280 horsepower, I know it's not that far off of the 310 a lot of people give you, and I know I'm spoiled once again by owning the Raptor right now, but it just was there was something about this. I would prefer the Chevrolet, which you guys have heard. I'm not a big fan of the 2.7 in that. I preferred the Chevrolet 9 times out of 10, if I have to be realistic about it. Something about this is just, it needs more. And I can only imagine of the SR version of makes what, 220 or something horsepower. I can only imagine how awful that thing is to drive. But I was really heartbroken because at one time I told Kelly, I was like, maybe we try to get in the Ranger really quickly and then flip it into the TRD Pro. And I'll be honest, I I've lost all desire to want to own that vehicle and use it as a long-term tester. Bums me out a lot because I think the TRD Pro looks aggressive. Trail Hunter, I could live with or out. Like, I don't like the snorkel in it. But is what it is. But the biggest thing, I know I've kind of went off a long rant on this one, and I apologize for that. But let's go into the off-road version because this is what I had. And I want to go into the interior of this thing. Let's see if there it is. So the interior of this truck is just a miss. Now, this great. Seats, great. I think they're very comfortable. I like the fact nice cup holders, well thought out for the passengers. You get your little ET guy there. So we're good there. But this dash, now this is obviously the one I was in had the nicer entertainment center. But this dash just overwhelms me with harsh lines, just too much going on with this thing, and it just bothered me. I didn't like really the position for all your crawl control features down at the bottom here. It just something about this truck. I think it's all the harsh angles, to be honest. And I did time with the Lexus GX 550, which basically is the same setup dash wise. And I like the fact that it just come across here. It wraps around. It just makes everything feel more like it belongs. And I'll be honest, the infotainment center in this truck does not look like it belongs. And that's been my one beef with Tundra, is it's just shove this big screen in there because that's what the American audience wants. They want this big screen. And kind of bums me out. But as I'm beating this truck up, there are some good points about it. It definitely, I like the outside styling. It's could be a little less too many lines going on, but I wouldn't. I would if I had to look at this truck daily, I think I could live with that. I think design wise they did do a pretty good job. But when you see this in person, like this sweeping back area of here of the rear tail, I don't know. It's just like somebody was with their clay design and just like somehow accidentally fell and chopped part of it off and went, shit, that don't look too bad. Let's just leave it there. And the grill. I mean, to be honest, there's a lot going on to this truck. So I think they took a chance, and well, we'll see sales. Their first quarter sales should be out soon. Well, I guess it'll be second quarter, but we should have a good solid idea of what the sales are going to be on this truck. And does the buying audience like it? I don't know. So we'll see on that. Where are you guys at with this one? Got my pen. Gotta write this down. So let's see. Toyota. We're going places. Where would I rank this thing? I forget what I said in the video, but I'm going to give it an 8. That's how I'm putting it in line with the Ridgeline. And that's how disappointed I am in this truck. Had it had just a little bit more power, we do know for emissions, chopped cylinders is the easiest way to help solve emission issues. I just think at minimum, this truck should have had 300 horsepower at minimum. And then maybe the iForce Max, if we could have got 350, 360. I just want a lot of horsepower. I'm silly like that, but I think it would have been probably more in line. Especially if you look at the TRD Pro version, the main comparison is Raptor. The interior is aggressive looking in that truck. The interior in the Raptor is a little more fun, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, will the fanboys rejoice with this vehicle? Will they love it? And will they buy it? And that's all Toyota cares about. And journalists like me, we can bitch about it and whine about it. But at the end of the day, if their buying audience purchases the vehicles, they've done their job and they've had a home run. So, speaking of home runs, this one is kind of funny to me. So let's bring it up. I love the fact that somehow in 2023, the 24 won Truck of the Year. Normally, these trucks win Truck of the Year in their first year. Well, it had a good 6 months of a 23 that it could have won that, and it didn't. But I like this truck quite a bit. Just like my GMC, this one will probably be short because a lot of my bitching and fussing about this truck is pretty reflective of the GMC. But the Colorado ZR2 there, as you can see it there, looks great. Let's go to build and price real quick because much like Toyota, they have a very underwhelming entry level to this thing, and it's kind of strange to me. So let's see. Yes, I'm sure I want to change configurations. Let's go back to truck. I don't need the ZR2 up here, guys. There we go. All right, so work truck. Definitely, GM knows with this thing. Hey, we want to sell this to box stores, parts movers. That's definitely there. Get the same engine no matter what, which is okay. Now, obviously, they offer different tunes for this engine, and they made a mistake early on. They do a low output and a high output, and then they were trying to do some mid output. I think they finally killed off the mid output because it was just too confusing. But you are definitely getting for $35,000, as you can see right here, or 34, I'm sorry, with the 2.7 8-speed transmission. Let's click this up real quick. 237 horsepower, 260 foot-pounds of torque, which the torque-wise, that's probably more than plenty for what this truck is. Horsepower should have been way up more, but price point of this vehicle, $34,000. Interior-wise, it's okay. The grill, you don't get the painted, all the features of that, which is weird because they do the same thing with the Trail Boss. You just get a little more splash of badging. Trail Boss at one time I thought would be the bread and butter of this vehicle, and it may be for the brand. You do get more of a lifted vehicle. You get some nice colors, very off-road looking, especially when you see it in person. You can tell these fenders are a little bit wider. The plastic areas are a little bit wider. Probably this front end works great for off-roading because you're going to beat the piss out of the front, trees, stuff like that. So the black plastic probably will work better. Trail Boss, I do like the badging on the side. The wheels are pretty nice. The tires on this, I have to say in person, are pretty nice. It's not a bad looking vehicle. I'm strong on their design. I love this, and I love this right here. It concaves in. It's really cool how they've done this in the Trail Boss, and then you see the design flows right through the taillights. Smart design. I'm assuming there's some aerodynamic purposes of this, but I really like this truck a lot. Trail Boss, when we saw it in person versus ZR1, was a little disappointing because the inside of this, let's see if I can find the here. We'll just go through here. Same colors as GMC, but let's go to the interior real quick. This does not showcase how cheap and plasticky this is in the interior. Now, I beat Nissan up for that kind of bland right there. They give you a little bit more, but not much. But these are it's just hard plastic everywhere. And I mean everywhere in this thing. Now, for the most part, everything about this truck looks like the most expensive version. You know, the air vents, everything, the layout's all the same. Shifter in both trucks is in the worst position possible. It needs to be over on this side, not like the passenger needs to make those shifts for you. I don't know if that's a global something they're doing or why that they thought, even when you lay your arm out there, if you're driving and you just naturally want to put your arm on the shifter, it's awkward. It's just awkward to me. But this truck, you know, it's supposed to be more of an entry level truck, I guess, and it just feels it. It definitely feels it, and that's something I think General Motors in general struggles with when they build something entry level. They struggle with the fact that they go too entry level. But let's see here. Let's click some options. Yes. These websites, man, piss me off. But as you can see here, $34,000 for the work truck, ZR2 down or Z71, which gives you some nice features. Still not a true off-road like the Z71s used to be. But if you want more of a nice kind of luxury ish off-road trim, that's there. But clearly the ZR2, that's where it's at. And let's click this thing. And you know, once again, you get all the fun colors. I do truly love this red. This red is so good looking in person. You can get, here's the AEV wheels, which I love this. I'm gonna go ahead and click the AEV on this so we can see it, what you get. But it's $12,000 for the AEV package in this. So let's hit cancel. But interior of this, a lot going on with it. This light gray was me and Kelly's biggest bitch about this truck, driving it in person. It just doesn't flow. I would have rather seen all black. I don't know, something about it would have just, I don't know, been a little more classy versus I know what they're trying to do with it. They're trying to make it exciting. These light colors just don't work for me. The digital and the dash is kind of cool. The seats, they're okay. I would do leather seats or whatever that option is for that. But guess what? Starting out price is $48,000 and you're getting front and rear lockers. So if you're an off-roader and you want the best of the best, you're there. You're already there, which is probably, now, can you find it for $48,000? No, probably more 50, 52. But badass. Like, you're getting everything. You know, there used to be the old redneck thing of like, hey, I want to get, as long as I get the lockers, whatever, I can make everything else badass myself. Well, these vehicles are getting so computer dependent. You better buy exactly what you want. But yeah, I've done building prices on these things and you can max them out pretty quickly. But let's go turn around here. See the gray in this? I don't know. Something about it doesn't flow well to me. And I don't know what's going on with the interior design. Like, you know, even like the white and the GMC just is odd to me. I would somehow maybe try to take these parts out of this. If I wanted the GMC, maybe get the armrests or maybe buy some just black armrests that they have and make that truck what you want. But still, it's a good truck. And I can't take that away from it. The horsepower being 310 horsepower. I wish their top trim would have just, even ZR2. Wish they would have had maybe like a 3-liter option. Could have still been a single turbo. But if you would have I think if you would have given the audience for this truck just a little more, including the AT4X, I think if you would just give them 10 to 15 more horsepower more, and I'm sure they can do it through a tune pretty easily, the buying audience would have just felt like, oh, there's value what I'm getting. Because a lot of times people look past interiors. They don't look at that as like, oh, that's why it's more expensive. Front and rear lockers, guess what? It comes with that either way. So you're looking past that a little bit. But if they would have just given you just a little bit more, now you're getting, you can see here, the bigger hood, you're getting some stuff to it. You're definitely the dampers and stuff being ZR2. But I just feel like, especially for the Bison, it just needed just a little bit more. And ZR2 in general. So we'll just take Bison off the plate right now. ZR2 in general should have had just 10 to 15 more horsepower and a better interior. And I think it would have been, I think people would have really looked at this truck strongly. Where are you guys at with the interior of this thing? And I'll get back to y'all, some of y'all's comments in a minute. But I think this truck is a great looking vehicle. I think it's one of the more off-roady looking vehicles, and I've said it many times. I think this and the GMC is a better looking outside vehicle than my Ford Ranger Raptor. I do. I think at some points Ranger Raptor didn't go crazy enough on the outside. It doesn't have enough of that hourglass shape where this one has. I don't know. It feels like it has a little bit more hourglass shape, a little more off-road look to it. Definitely these bumpers help. Even in ZR2 fashion, that definitely helps. Let's go. Well, let's put the AEV on there just to see what happens. Let's confirm that. God, I love those wheels. I would put those wheels on my Raptor. I would. I like those wheels quite a bit. That's badass. I'm telling you, you put 35s under these things when you see it in person. It's, as a truck guy, as an off-road truck guy, that a lot of rubber between the wheels. That's something that, I talked about Fall Guy earlier. You remember that kind of copper GMC he had them big beefy, tires, because you got to remember the time period. That's when Bigfoot trucks and all the monster trucks were coming out, and that just makes the look to me of an off-road truck. A lot of meat there. That looks so good. Now, one goofy thing is this spare tire holder, and somebody said it actually would fit under the truck. So was this just done so we can look cool? I think that was a kind of a miss on it. But if I could find a Bison, I would move into a Bison right now, even though I would trade the Raptor for a Bison. Now, I wouldn't be as happy probably ultimately because of the interior and the motor. But if I to turn my head and look at a vehicle every day, that's a pretty truck. I'm curious where you guys are at with this one, because that in AEV form right there, that is wicked. But the problem with that is, we'll go to finish up here without adding any options, is the fact that we started out with a $46,000 truck, and somehow just adding tires and a few options, now we're at $61,000. And that's not even with probably the best infotainment center. And GM, which they don't like to talk about, is that, oh, we're working with Google, so our radio system doesn't as great, or our infotainment center is not as great. The interior looks great. I like the fonts and everything they use, but and then it's like loot boxes. Oh, you want the signs to show up on your drive. Oh, you got to pay for that. They have a lot of goofy shit that you just got to pay extra for, monthly charges, and I don't like that. But ultimately, I think this is a good looking vehicle, and I'm curious where you guys are at with this one. So that's going to leave us one more, but let me get to the comments real quick. See if I missed anything. Where are we at? Let's see. Erich Jefferson in the house, who sells Ford products. I'm always at work, so I only catch when I don't have a customer. Well, Erich, we greatly appreciate you being on here. Let's see. Andrew says, I would rank the Ranger a 10 due to the 3 different engine options. That is a big plus to that. No, we don't need you up here. But that is a good, and I see that a lot in the comments of the videos. Let's see. I like driving the Taco I rented, but my legs and ankles work messed up after that. Well, I guess you were going to tell me otherwise, weren't you, Mr. Bunghole? Let's see. Tacoma is overpriced, and they aren't the same. They build for the numbers, no longer the name. No front locker. Most people don't trust hybrids. Off-roading quality control has dropped as if they were Ford. Yeah, I don't know. Ford and Chevrolet, they still have some. I would like to chalk it up to sometimes just brands have this thing, but I think my labor issues might be part of that. And don't beat me up. I have friends that work for both manufacturers, and they're hardworking people. But I think some of the non-union shops may. I didn't work in a union shop, so I don't really know how it works. And I will say, after touring Michigan Assembly Plant, some of the nicest, happiest people I've ever seen. So I'm sure it works out, but it's some strange quality issues. Bye, Cat. Michael Cooper says, I drove my son's 22 Taco from Rochester to North Carolina, and the seats were uncomfortable, but drives good. Besides that, the seats in my Bronco were more comfortable. Oh, 100%. And a truck I'm not even going to put on this list is the Gladiator. And you guys, I owned a Gladiator. If you're new to the channel, go watch those videos. I had a Willys Edition Gladiator. Awful seats. Awful. We took it to Michigan. On the ride up there, my back was hurting. On the way back, I didn't get to Toledo from Detroit, and I had to get my daughter's pillow that she had in the back, and I had to sit on it because it was that uncomfortable. And I've heard people say, "Oh, you get the leather seats; they're super comfortable." I don't know, but that was my experience. Um, you all right, Kat? Hopefully, hanging in there. Let's see. Let's see. Call me weird, but I like the ZR2 camo patterns on the seat. But it is enraging to get that phone charge, ventilated seats. I'm forced to get the vinyl seats are leather gray. Yes. Yes. Oh, that was one plus to that truck too, is something that the next one we're going to bring up is heated and cooled seats. And so I might as well crack this door open with our final. And I saved this one our last because I own this vehicle. So I didn't want to go too deep into this. Okay. But the Ford Ranger, and I've seen the comments and people are just pissed off at this truck because I've ordered it a year ago and blah, 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 and still didn't get it. And so F Ford, blah, blah, blah. Guys, we had a strike in the middle of development of this vehicle. Well, I was at the press event last May when the truck came out. Didn't get to drive it at the time, but they brought it out for the press. We got to look at it. I did ride in the Ranger Raptor there. Or no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I was offered a ride in it, and I was like, I'm not riding in one until I'm at the press drive or I own my own. So I had to buy my own. But it's a nice vehicle. My only problem initially with this vehicle is since the Australian market, it's a global truck now. And since the Australian market got this truck 2 years ago, it's starting to feel old. I like to look at mine. I'll wash it and just, get giggly because got to own a Ranger Raptor. But I have to admit, outside of this is starting to look old already. And that kind of bums me out. It's something that Chevrolet had to go through with the Camaro. Remember when the Transformers movies came out in 7 and they showed what the new Camaro was going to be, and the damn thing didn't pop up till 10. I don't track Camaro, but it took a long time for actually get to market. And I often said then, I was like, we've seen this car in every movie, every billboard, that I don't know, something about it is starting to feel old. And I kind of feel that way with Ranger just a little bit. And it sucks because this damn thing just is hitting the streets. But I still think it's a great looking vehicle, and it's very in line with Ford's design features. Definitely you look at the front, you think a little bit of F-150. I think it's a good looking truck. I think pricing of it's not too bad. We'll jump into this. Well, let me go back. XL model for $32,000. And with XL, what they're not telling you is, I don't know why they even call it XL anymore. It's called the XL, and you get the STX package, which is a sport package. So you get a really cool truck for 34. And one cool thing that I do love that Ford does is something that's come from maybe their full size truck line, is the ability to add things like a locker. Like you can get an XL and add a rear locker to it, which is $420, and do nothing else to it. And you've got a pretty badass off-road rig that you can go, if you want to put a lift on it, you want to do all the stuff that you're probably going to do anyways, you can go do that pretty easily and maybe save yourself a bunch of money, where some of the other brands force you into packages, and like what was the Chevrolet version we were just talking about? You didn't get a real locker in the damn thing till you get in basically into the ZR2. I like the fact that Ford is giving us some options, and like was mentioned below in the comments, that we have engine options now. 2.7 doesn't hit this truck till this fall, so I know a lot of people are interested in that. The 2.7 is going to make 315 horsepower, same motor in the Bronco that makes 330. I think they've just slightly detuned it because slightly lighter vehicle, but you're getting a twin turbo V6 engine in this. And have you noticed there's been no V6s other than Nissan? Oh, I guess Ridgeline too, but there's just the big guys are just all losing cylinders, and Ford's like, all right, people buy it, we'll make it. And they've done well with their EcoBoost technology. And, you know, I know there's always problems with these things, but I haven't seen a lot of issues with the EcoBoost stuff. The 2.3 has been around forever, and it makes right at what I think 280. I think is what it's going to make in this, maybe 290. I know in the Bronco you can get 300 horsepower depending on what fuel you choose. But you can, up to the Lariat. Look here, Lariat, $43,000. You're going to get LED projector headlamps, power sliding rear, zone lighting, which the zone lighting is, if you've never had this, the zone lighting where it lights around the truck is really cool. And like Toyota does it with their Trail Hunter, it's an option. You can get outside bed lighting. They do have some of this stuff. Power heated seats, which why they're not doing cooled seats in these things, I do not understand. Kelly was a big, hey, you want cooled seats in trucks? And I was like, I don't need no cooled seats until I had it. And then especially when we were in the desert last month with the Raptor R program, it was nice. It was nice to be in the desert and your ass wasn't stuck to the damn seat. But Chevrolet, you can get that. So kind of strange to me why Ford, that's their one thing like they're hanging their hat on. But look at that simple lineup. XL, XLT, Lariat. Basically, that's the three. Raptor it's its own character, so it's hard to, you're not going to get a Raptor with a 2.3. So it's literally its own thing. But the ability to get, $32,000, you get a nice vehicle. Of course, you add 4-wheel drive to it, it's $36,000. But add a locker to it, and you got a hell of an off-road truck. But we don't get all the options. And notice it's simple. Something that Toyota needs to pull back on is all the damn options, and just give us a simple truck, Toyota. Give us 5 trucks, and that's it. But $55,000 for a Raptor. Of course, we did highlight the ZR2 on that. You're not going to get the 35-inch tires on this. You're only going to get 33-inch tires. But the Raptor ZR2, it's hard to I did a comparison video, but it's hard to, because they're different monsters in the off-road world. They're on different ends of the spectrum. Raptor has front and rear lockers, so you think, oh cool, it can be a rock crawler, which it's probably capable of doing that, but that's not where it's best at going fast off-road. And the ZR2 is more of the muscular, hey, I'm going to be brawny, I'm going to be that tank that can crawl up rocks, do whatever. And I think that's where the two are different. But either way, they're both a great value, $55,000 starting out for that truck. And there's not many options. Colors, there's some expensive paint if you want to, but full-time 4-wheel drive, you can do all-time with that. I believe it's with the Lariat as well. You can do all-time 4-wheel drive. But if you want options in this truck, maybe wheels, which I'm not a big fan of the B-lock capable wheels. I'm not a fan of B-locks. Like, I don't do that kind of off-roading that I need to air down to 4. But, if you want to add the Raptor decals, which I did do on mine, because I wanted mine to be more obnoxious. If I'm owning a Raptor, I want it to be obnoxious. The interior of this thing, I do find to be probably out of all we've seen, this hits. And I have a couple. I'm going to do a video. I've got a video coming up of some misses on this truck. But overall, all the colors, this is exciting. The seats are exciting. All the color, there's something the ZR2 just lacked, was to make that vehicle more exciting. And this one doesn't. The center stack radio, I didn't think I would like, and I think it's the best in the business now. I really do. The center here for the console here works great. One ding I will say from mine is these buttons here. Like in the F-150 Raptor, you push the button, that center button there. In this, you do something different. It's just stupid to me. But this will tow. Both trucks, all of Ford's trucks, the towing's great on them. So if you want to pull your boat or whatever, it's very capable. Let's see, back here. I'm trying to get out of this. All these people's websites are just awful for this crap. It's like they didn't expect people to want to talk about them. But towing on all these, they're great. I'm a big fan of the Ranger. You guys know I've talked about this damn thing for quite a while. A couple things. I think engine for me is where it wins. For my Raptor especially, I think. But having like Andrew said earlier in the comments, having options. People want some options. Maybe horsepower isn't as maybe somebody needs a truck, but they don't need the most horsepower. So they're like, oh, I can save a couple of dollars having the 2.3. Or maybe that person who in the last generation had the 2.3 and that was the only option. They're like, I need more. So I think that's great. Of course, Raptor, once again, it's its own thing. But ultimately, I think this is a truck that Ford designed globally, but with F-150 customers in mind. They know that customer base. They know the touch feel of that truck. And I think they did a home run in this thing. So let's see. I got Toyota down here, so we got to put Ford. And this is a tough one for me. This is a tough. Oh, I don't even think I ranked the Chevrolet, but I'm going to rank the Chevy. I feel bad, but I'm going to rank it a 9 versus the GMC. I just like GMC better. But for Ford, I'm going to have to give this one a 9.3. Overall, there's a couple little things I would like to see him do different about just the normal Ranger. I think the Ranger Raptor is an exception to that rule. But I don't think that it's more conservative in its design. I think Ford knows they have an older buying audience for the F-150, and they want them to be able to feel comfortable buying the littler truck. So they're more at home with that. Where GM, I think, with the Silverado are able to go, F it. Let's just do something different in the interiors and make them more exciting, more aggressive. Because the midsize truck segment, weirdly, it's a youthful segment. And I think some of the brands are looking at that. I think that's where Toyota's looking at. Honestly, I think that's why they've all these harsh lines and the aggressive nature of that vehicle is because they want that youthful buyer. And so I think each brand has definitely their own opinions of what the midsize truck should be. But so overall, I got the list here. We'll go back over it here, and I'm curious. Leave me a comment I want to know your numbers on this thing. So Honda, we've got it. I ranked it at 8.0. Think it's a good vehicle, just needs to be updated slightly. Nissan, I gave them an 8.1. I think that 0.1 is really the bigger V6 that they put in that. The GMC Canyon, I gave a 9.5, especially looking at the AT4X. It's probably why it got that. I think it looks great. I like the aggressive look to it. And remember, I would have given it probably a 10 had it had a better engine. Toyota, I gave the same score as the Honda, which who would ever thought that Toyota, in my opinion, remember these are my opinions, would be an 8.0. Like the lowest scores was Honda and Toyota for me. Ford, I gave a 9.3, and Chevrolet, I gave the 9.0. So in my opinion, the top trucks, GMC, Ford, Chevrolet, Nissan, and then Honda. Honda tied with Toyota. And I know that's going to piss some people off that watch this thing down the road. They're going to be like, Dave, you're crazy. You're hating on Toyota. No, these are my opinions. I just feel like there's too much going on with that truck for it to continue to be the king of sales. I'm sure it will continue to be the king of sales, but I think that all the brands saw what Toyota was doing and took their own ways to outshine Toyota. And as of right now, I think they have. Now, once I drive the TRD Pro version of that truck, maybe I feel that big, massive torque that thing has. Maybe that changes my opinion. But I think if I were to line the vehicles up right now, I think Ranger Raptor is going to whip its ass if you wanted to do a 0 to 60. Could be wrong. But I don't do 0 to 60s in these trucks. And I need to do truck things, and I like to do off-road truck things. So the GMC wins out. And did you see that in the did you start this going, he's going to pick the GMC, and then he's going to put Toyota at the very bottom? Let's see. Mr. says ZR2 looks better on the outside, but the Ranger Raptor looks better on the inside. 100%. 100%. Man, I can tell I haven't done one of these solo in a long time. Hour 30 is what we've done here. I appreciate everybody hanging in for that long. NSA watching they want Jeep in there. Until we see some big updates to Gladiator, it's off my list now. That's bad when the Honda's more on my list than the Gladiator. And I own the Gladiator. It's a very capable vehicle, but it's just not interesting to me right now. Let's see. Midsize cat stream. That is correct. She's kind of a midsize cat compared to my cat. Let's see. Michael Cooper says, I got 2.3 Pro Cal for my Bronco. Does anyone know if it voids the warranty if I install it? It's ready to go. I just haven't installed the performance tune yet. I know the Ford performance tune will not mess up anything. I think with the ProCal, you can back up your factory tune and you can reinstall it. I'm not sure how deep the rabbit hole goes of whether they know something or to happen. If you're close on warranty ending anyways, F it. I would put it on there. I haven't heard anybody have any issues with it. I'm looking for our Bronco. I think we're going to put the Ford Performance tune on it. I think it's a conservative tune, but I would like to experience it. And maybe I can reach out to my friends at Ford and see if they'll donate one to the cause and see if we like it, and we would give the thumbs up on it. Let's see. Raptor trim is just a whole different truck than the other Rangers. Oh, 100%. I mean, there's some similarities. Seating position, I think, and everything is pretty close. But so Michael, you're saying you got that Ford Performance one. Sorry, I might be mixing it up with something else. No, the Ford Performance one, I think it has to be installed by maybe a dealership or something. I think you can do it yourself, but I think it's part of that is the warranty issue. Chris says, once I put 35s on my Raptor, I think it beats the Bison. It will. You're definitely going to lose a little travel to that thing. And Bison, you do get it. There's hydraulic bump stops you get on the Bison. There's some things you get with that truck that you don't on the Raptor. I think the Watts link for Raptor is where it wins for high speed. I think that's where, the leaf springs of the ZR2. I believe, I'm pretty sure it still has leaf springs. Can't remember. It still rides great, but I think the way it's going to allow too much of this, I think the Watts link's going to keep it more stable at high speed, and definitely versus just normal coilovers, the Watts link's with the way to go for speed, but you're not going to get as much flex. I'm going to put a buddy of mine over at off-road shop here locally, Overland Shop. They have a RTI ramp. I do need to take the Ranger over there. Just curious what it would do. Will it be a flex monster? Probably not. If you guys have not yet, if you would go ahead and smash that like button for me on this, I would greatly appreciate that. Got 26 likes right now. And I want to say thank you to Super Chat we got from Andy. Thank you very much for that. We have memberships. I have to bring this up because Kelly would kill me. Got to keep the lights on here and help pay for 3 cars that I'm only supposed to be paying for 2 cars. Got to somehow pay for the Mustang, but we have Patreon membership, All Terrain Nation. I do something different on there than I do over on the memberships here locally on YouTube. YouTube generally gets access to most videos before everybody else, but Patreon gets more photos and more opinion stuff over there. So if you ever feel like helping the channel, I greatly appreciate that. Let's see. And everybody, no matter what you pay, you get basically the same access as everybody else on each platform. So we have a couple of tiers. If you're interested in helping the channel more, or just like doing the bare minimum to help us out, we would greatly appreciate that. So let's see. Any other questions or comments? I'm enjoying the Friday. I have to admit, I'm enjoying the Friday podcast for this, and kind of rebranding the show just a little bit. Used to be Midsize Trucks live. I think we're going to open this up to just the midsize segment in general, which lends itself to Broncos, stuff like that. So we can talk Jeep, Wranglers, stuff like that a little bit as well. But I think we'll kind of Fridays might be the new time period for it. And even if you're watching this after the fact, leave me a comment of how do Fridays work for you. Would you be more interested? Are you at work? It's like, I need something to listen to. I need some idiot from the South to run his mouth and me make fun of him. I'm here for you if that's the case. Or if you agree with us and enjoy the show, I'm also here for you on that. So if there's no other comments, so it does have the leaf springs. I thought it did. I couldn't remember. No other comments. We're going to have to wind this one down. And I greatly appreciate you. 1 hour and 40 minutes. I greatly appreciate it. A lot of you hanging in there for the whole show. We greatly appreciate that. Once again, if you ever want to get a hold of us, we have snail mail. It's in the comments below. I'm on Instagram. You can go to our website, allterrainnation.com. You can contact us that way. Reach out. There's no silly questions. There's only dumb answers, and I'm full of those. So remember that. So whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or these badass trucks that I've driven pretty much all of them and love to drive. It's been your All Terrain Nation. I'm your host, David Boyd. I appreciate you guys being along for the ride, and we're out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.